Hi MYP students, Ms. Beecraft here, your MYP coordinator. And before we jump in going over what you're going to work on today, I just wanted to give you a timeline for the rest of the project. In December, you should have finished your action plan. You could do that in your handbook or in Canvas. If you were looking at that original Canvas assignment, I apologize. I linked the wrong document. So I added a second assignment for the action plan. So if you want to do it digitally, it's in there now. In January, you're really going to be focusing on completing your product, actually doing your project we've been planning on since September. In February, you're going to meet with your supervisor one last time, and you're going to finish your final report, which brings together all your reflections and your evidence along the way, and you're going to summarize your learning. You'll submit that by February 27th, and then you are done with the MYP personal project. If you're looking for more specific dates and descriptions, in your handbook on page 5 is our timeline of all of the due dates and the explanations. This is also the home page of your Canvas classroom. And so today we're doing lesson number 5. We're going to talk about reflecting on the ATL skills you've been utilizing throughout your project. On January 17th, at least one of your ATL skills reflection, that journal entry, should be completed and submitted into Canvas. You will meet with your supervisor the week of February 3rd. And then during February 3rd to the 14th, during those 2 weeks in health classes, you will work on your final report. If you don't have health, I will reach out with a plan to catch you up. And then, as I mentioned, that final report, the end of your personal project is due February 27th. And so at this point, we've done all of the planning pieces, and we're really on this next step of applying ATL skills. And when we look at the different objectives, so the criteria that your MYP final report is going to be graded on, we have finished all of Objective A, planning, and today we're working on Objective B of applying skills, of reflecting on the ATL skills that you have been developing throughout this project. Objective C is reflecting, so you will do that during the time periods when you're working on your final report. Okay, so for Objective B, applying ATL skills. As a reminder, our ATL skills are a set of 5 categories, and some of those categories are broken down into subcategories, like thinking skills are creative, critical, and transfer skills. But they're a set of socio-emotional academic skills that are essential for school, for careers, for life, and that you're using and developing throughout this personal project. As you reflect on what ATL skills that you've used throughout your project, you need to provide evidence. And so as you go through your entire project, you should be documenting with evidence. Some of that evidence will be the Canvas or the handbook assignments that you have already completed. And then some of it will be evidence of the progress you're making as you're building your product or creating your product. So for this section today, as you think about the ATL skills you've used, you're going to reflect on how you've grown and learned and developed those skills with evidence. So you're going to need evidence of how you used an ATL skill to meet your learning goal, right? The skill or what you learned throughout the project. And you're going to need ATL skill with evidence of how you achieved your product, how you actually created what you produced as your personal project. And your evidence can be lots of different things. A lot of the evidence will be screenshots or pictures from your handbook or from your Canvas site. They could be mind maps. They could be your paper calendar as you use time management skills. They could be annotated research. They can be emails that you've taken. They can be actual pictures of your art project or your animation that you've been working on. So anything can really be evidence, and you want to take lots of evidence along the way so that you have that when you put it all together in this journal and in your final report. And so just an example, if you were talking about self-management skills and you're talking about the effective skills of being able to bounce back after a failure, here's an example from a Seneca Valley student in past years where she took pictures of her ceramic, her pottery work, and she showed how the handle broke off and she had to re-sculpt it. And so that was evidence to support her development of self-management ATL skills. Another example, this student was reflecting on their use of research skills. And so they're showing their annotated notes from the research that they were doing for their personal project. And then finally, the last student was focusing on communication skills. And so they were talking about how they developed their communication skills through the project. And they're highlighting a screenshot of an email that they had to send because they had to collaborate with a lot of staff members in order to finish their personal project. So those are just some examples of the evidence. But as you're writing today and you're reflecting on ATL skills, you will need evidence to prove how you use that skill and your process that you used for the project. So you're going to practice a little bit. I gave you an example ATL reflection. You're going to read through that reflection. And as you read through, try and identify what are the 3 requirements for your ATL reflection journal entries. And then there's some checking for understanding questions just to make sure that you understand the expectations for this part of the personal project. So your task, when you open that ATL skill journal, again, you can always do it either in your handbook or you can do it in Canvas. I give you a couple prompts that are common: self-management, research. Your job is you can use those prompts that I give you to help you think about ATL skills, or you can choose your own ATL skill. You're going to include an explanation, how you use the skill. You're going to give your evidence, and all of that will be in either your journal or on Canvas. Uh, I also include in the handbook, there is the ATL skills at the back, and then there's a QR code and a bit.ly link that will take you to the ATL skills too if you need to reference those, and they're also posted in your Canvas classroom. So you can find them in lots of different places. And you should have at least one of your journal entries, so at least one ATL skill that you've used. You've identified whether you're using it for your learning goal or your product goal, and that is due by Friday, January 17th. So the rest of class, you're going to practice on page 55, reading that example journal entry and answer the questions on page 56. Then you're going to start working on your ATL skill journal on page 57 or in Canvas. And then throughout January and early February, you should be working on your product, making sure that you're finishing the actual project part of your MYP personal project. And then just looking ahead, upcoming dates, on Tuesday, January 17th, that first ATL skill journal is due. And then on the week of February 3rd, you'll have your last and final supervisor meeting. Again, if you need any help, my office is 3514. It's right across from the Lit and Lang English office, and I'm always here to help. I hope you have a productive rest of class. Thank you.